No one expects a quiet suburban driveway to become the center of a battle that would divide an entire neighborhood. No one imagines that a single parked car could expose how fragile fairness really is when power goes unchecked. But one morning, in a community where rules were enforced more strictly than kindness, an ordinary homeowner walked outside and realized his life had just been turned into a warning example. A car blocked his driveway completely, placed there with deliberate confidence by someone who believed authority protected her from consequences. What followed wasn't just an argument about parking. It became a fight over control, reputation, and the question every homeowner eventually faces: what happens when the people enforcing the rules decide they don't apply to themselves? The neighborhood looked perfect from the outside. Tree-lined streets, curved around, identical homes, painted in carefully approved colors. Lawns were trimmed to uniform heights, mailboxes matched, and sidewalks stayed spotless. The Homeowners Association promoted the community as a model of order and harmony, a place where property values stayed high because standards were strictly maintained. Daniel Harper had moved there 3 years earlier, seeking stability after a long period of uncertainty. At 38, he valued quiet routines and predictable days. He worked remotely as an IT consultant, which meant most of his time was spent at home, surrounded by the calm he had intentionally chosen. The neighborhood felt safe, organized, and peaceful, exactly what he wanted. He followed the HOA rules carefully. Trash bins went out only at approved hours. Landscaping stayed neat. Exterior lights matched community guidelines. Daniel wasn't trying to stand out. He simply wanted to live comfortably without conflict. At first, the HOA felt distant and mostly invisible. Monthly emails arrived with reminders about seasonal decorations or lawn maintenance. Nothing unusual for a managed community. Residents waved politely during evening walks, and disputes seemed non-existent. One name appeared frequently in HOA communications: Linda Carver. Linda served as the association's enforcement chair, a role that gave her authority to monitor violations and issue citations. She was known throughout the neighborhood for her constant presence, walking streets with a clipboard, photographing properties, reminding residents about compliance. Some admired her dedication. Others quietly avoided her. Daniel's first interaction with Linda had been brief and polite, a reminder about a recycling bin left visible too long. He corrected it immediately, assuming that was the end of it. But over time, her attention toward his property seemed to increase. Small notices began appearing. A warning about hedge height that differed by inches. A reminder regarding driveway markings that no other neighbor received. Each issue felt minor, yet the frequency created unease. Daniel complied every time, believing cooperation would resolve whatever concern existed. Instead, the scrutiny intensified. Then came the morning everything changed. Daniel stepped outside with his coffee and froze. A silver sedan sat directly across his driveway entrance, blocking it completely. There was no space to exit, no visible attempt to park considerately. The placement felt intentional. The vehicle belonged to Linda. At first, Daniel assumed it was temporary, maybe maintenance work or a short visit nearby. He waited. 30 minutes passed, then an hour. His scheduled appointment approached, and frustration replaced patience. He contacted the HOA using the official reporting process, expecting a simple resolution. The response shocked him. The HOA informed him that Linda was conducting community enforcement duties and that temporary parking exceptions were permitted under operational authority. No timeline was provided. No apology offered. Daniel stared at the message, trying to understand how blocking a resident's driveway could qualify as enforcement work. Hours passed before the car moved. The next day, a violation notice appeared in his mailbox, citing him for improper communication with HOA leadership and warning of escalating penalties for non-cooperative behavior. Confusion turned into concern. Daniel reviewed community bylaws carefully and found nothing allowing board members to obstruct private property access. He submitted a formal appeal, attaching photos and timestamps. Instead of resolution, fines followed. Each notice carried increasing penalties. Language grew sharper, framing him as disruptive. Emails went unanswered. Requests